Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is K Ray, right here on the K Ray and the RFS Sports Podcast. Today, we got some good guests on here today. They right here now, and I will let them introduce themselves. I don't need to introduce them. I'm gonna go around the room. First, I start with you.
Wayne Thomas, former Miles College wide receiver, Birmingham native.
Coach L, here in town, alumni, Jacksonville State, running back, now owner of Step by Step Sports Trainer.
Otis Leverett, owner of Modern Day Fitness, UAB alum, NFL alum, and just happy to be here, right?
Okay, you over Modern Day Fitness.
Yes.
Tell us
yes.
about Modern Day Fitness.
It's just it's a company that I started back in really actually started back in about 07, 08. And basically I tell the story all the time. I used to flip houses after I got out of the NFL, and then the houses started flipping me. And so when the market went belly up, I started training athletes and created this whole concept we see right now.
Tell them who you played for in the NFL.
I was initially drafted in the 6th round to the Miami Dolphins, and ended up playing my career. I played 2 years with the Washington Redskins, 2 years with the San Diego Chargers, a year with the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, go ahead. So you started. Did you have a vision? You said you were flipping houses. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I just started flipping houses, and they started flipping me when the real estate turned up, man. It's just like God just telling me, man, be obedient, son. I didn't put you here to flip houses, and so I went back to helping kids and doing what I do, and that's how this whole concept was created.
So, and then with you, Stevens, you said running back. I never knew that. You said running back with Jackson, but you carrying the load.
I did a little something. I was able to do what I do. It's funny that you asked that question. Being careful how I respond nowadays, but I have confidence in saying that when I was in high school, I did my thing and I did exactly what a running back was asked to do.
So who you play with at Hueytown?
I actually played with Jameis.
Okay.
That's how I found out about
Was he
back in the day.
Was he handing off? He handing the ball and throwing it to you?
Yeah, that first year he was handing it off and he'd throw me in the slot and I go get it. So I was his running back and I was his best receiver. His 9th grade year.
See, many people don't know that. Yeah. So you got a scholarship at Jacksonville?
Yeah. So I got a scholarship opportunity at Alabama State and Jacksonville State. I am going to Jacksonville State. Just to be honest, I was the first in my family to go straight to college from high school.
Yeah.
So since I had made it to a high level than people before me, I didn't really have anybody to tell me how to manage that. And when I got there, I got a little complacent, and I didn't put in the work. I didn't think I had to put in the work because I felt like I was supposed to be bigger than Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
And I downplayed it a little bit and got out there in the game against Wofford and tore my ACL, MCL, and meniscus. And I chose to end my career at the time. My girlfriend then, my wife now, was pregnant with my first son.
You know, I talked. Your wife was in my section room at Huffman.
At Huffman High School.
I keep telling you that time I see you. Yeah. But so where your vision came in as being a trainer?
Just to be completely honest with you, I always had visions of being a pediatrician or a fireman, not knowing that it would come full circle years later that I'd be putting out fires every single day, and I'd be helping and assisting kids with not only their physical needs but emotional needs as well too. When I tore my ACL, a lot of people don't know it, but when I tore my ACL, MCL, and meniscus, I went back to surgery about 9 o'clock, and I woke up with my shirt cut open and patches on my chest and a tube by the size of my point finger in the side of my knee. My heart actually stopped twice during surgery. Wow. So when I woke up, my mom and my granddad was the only 2 people sitting at the edge of that bed, and they was just saying, hey, man, they had to bring you back twice, you know what I'm saying, and kind of ran out of the room crying. As I sat there on the bed, I realized football was over. I went through about 6 years of being depressed and not knowing it. I worked a job. I did good, being a provider. And my wife kind of started pushing me and said, hey, you're bigger than a football player. And what I had never known was to be someone without a helmet on. I thought my identity was the helmet. So I started having a fast forward from that. One of my kids, Trey Garrett, dad had beat cancer, younger guy in his early 30s, had beat cancer. I was coaching his son at the Y in Trustful. And literally he said, man, can you train my kid? I made every excuse on why I couldn't. and God made every excuse on why I could. And that kid was 3 years old at the time, and now he's currently 11 and still with me. So that's where my vision training came from, just helping kids.
Okay, so you play football now. We know you big time receiver. Okay, we went to college together. So tell them how you got started.
Training.
Well, you tell them your career. Let's go through it all up to date. Yeah.
My career.
Yeah.
My career was crazy because I played multiple sports, and I never had a love for no sport. I just played it when it was the season, gave it 100 then, and left it alone when I won that season. So as soon as football was over in high school at Ensley, we was more determined to get on the court than we was, to take that week off and transition in. So I've been playing multiple sports, as a child. But my love to train came in because I ended up having.
Let's hold on 1 second. Let's go back. So we know you played with Miles. See, many people don't know you play professionally.
Yeah,
in Birmingham. Tell them about that.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to. So I had the opportunity to go to the NFL and be a free agent for the Tennessee Titans. During my time of going to the Titans, there was a great call from the CFL.
Yeah.
And it made a lot more sense financially at that time. So football wasn't a love for me. So I took the route that made more sense, and it ended up being a great route. I won a championship at Calgary Stampede with Jeff Garcia was my quarterback.
Jeff Garcia?
Yeah, and then we ended up getting a team in Birmingham, which was the Steel Dogs. By me being in Canada, I had just had this daughter, and I was ready to come back home. And then when they said Arena League, I was like, well, if we're going to be on the inside, I'm for that, because I don't like outside football, period.
Yeah.
You can imagine how it was in Canada. So I ended up getting a team with the Steel Dogs, and Bobby called me, and I think I caught a couple of 100 touchdowns in 2 years for the Steel Dogs, and ended up breaking all kind of Arena League records. And that led me to teaching. So I did 8 years in the Arena League. I won 5 championships in the Arena League. And then God took me all the way back around, and I started teaching. He started teaching from the 12th grade, and he took me to every subject from 12th to 11th to 10th, all the way down to 2-year-olds. Then I started getting it, just seeing him. I could see him walk and tell if he turned his feet in, he'll walk a little better. And it just started being a gift to be able to see kids and enhance them with some knowledge of what they're doing. And then they go out there and stand out with their friends and stuff. It's kind of like fulfilling to me and stuff. So I just hate to see the ones riding the bench. I got tired of seeing kids riding benches.
Yeah.
Like, if I teach him, I know he's going to know what to do. Yada. And it's been working. So that professionals, and I also assistant head coach. Well, I was the head coach for the Birmingham Surge, Magic City Surge in basketball. Basketball was my love. I graduated from Central Park Christian. I was one of the first athletes to go to Central Park Christian to go pro. And then we just started feeding them in pro and basketball, NBA. So everywhere I've gone, I went to Miles. They hadn't won a game in 30 years.
I remember.
We won the first game, and you would have thought it was a championship.
Yeah, because we were celebrating.
People was on their porches, barbecuing. We like, what's going on? We just won. We game.
That's the hill.
They had won, so that started a tradition of winning. So everywhere I've gone, I've been a seed planter, and the seeds have just prospered. So training is just, it's been a gift, and to see it work on my own children is the joy.
Okay. Now, I just thought the parents or the players, how do you gain trust of a player? How do you gain trust of a player? Okay, I know this person want to train me. I want to go train this person, but how do you gain their trust? How do you gain the kid's trust? Okay, Coach O's I want him to be my trainer.
Trust is very, very complex, right?
Yeah.
And they say I can gain a kid trust in one area and not have his trust in another.
Yeah.
So it takes, man, I'm serious, and that's why I tell people all the time, if you want fast food, don't come train with me.
Yeah.
If you want mama's cooking, meaning it's gonna sit on the stove a little while, and you want some soul food, and we're gonna marinate over some time, some years, and some space, I'm your guy. Because there are so many levels of components, because you can trust me like heck as what I know as far as the training business is concerned.
Yeah.
But you got so many life issues that need to be tapped into but you don't trust me in them life issues. But watch this. Everything we doing on this field gonna be null and void if we don't find a way to tap into them life issues and deal with you holistically. So the answer to that question is real complex, man. Trust is a very complex thing, man. It's 5 or 6 areas of trust you got to accomplish with a kid to be able to get them. But that's why I tell folks, if you want a 10-step, 10-week program, man, I might not be your guy. But if you want something that's gonna build over time, and you want some real from scratch gumbo, then I'm your guy.
Parents deal with a lot of them.
Yeah.
You get in the backlash. Well, my kid supposed to be this for long and stuff
Yeah,
like
and
that.
it's something that it's something that I struggled with in the beginning. Because one thing my grandmother used to always tell me was don't expect yourself out of other people. You know, so the biggest thing for me was when I told the truth, when I was honest with the parent, you expect them just to trust you and listen to you and like you said, kind of go throughout the course, you know, but because of emotions, because of, you know, comparison, you know, which is the thief anyway, you know, comparison this kid to this kid or, you know, how much this kid is training versus your kid, you're going to get some type of backlash. But, and every time I'm around, I give him his credit because when I first started training, Antonio Winston, James' dad, said, hey, man, look out for him. And he said, man, meet me at Lawson Field at 5:30 in the morning. And he met me out on that field. And basically, he took the high school kids and left me with about 20 college kids. We talking, I think Starling was still in high school then and just torn his ACL. And literally, I didn't have no equipment. I didn't know what his game plan was. I just knew how to do some work. You know what I'm saying? And literally doing that, you know, he told me, he said, man, you're going to survive in this business a long time. Just keep doing it how you know the right way to do it. So you're going to get backlash. But I know when you're confident in who you are and you're confident in knowing that you're doing what's right for that kid, you know, that's the parent's loss. And a lot of times that parent loss is that kid's loss. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time when that heat hit the fan, they'll be right back tapping on your shoulder saying, hey, either I should have listened or, hey, can you help? Save me.
Okay, now, I always ask myself, maybe it's just me being crazy. I said, how did they come up with the names? How did you come up with the names step by step?
So literally, you know, throughout the process of coming out of that knee surgery and looking at the first 4 letters of my last name, I was like, man, fear is a powerful thing, especially to an African-American man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's pushed on us, it's instilled in us. And I grew up in Press City. You know, I went to Hewlett High School that gave me a different view that I didn't have, but I grew up in Press City.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see anybody that looked different to me until I got to the 9th grade, you know, when somebody throwing 95 miles per hour on a baseball mound.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that alone is fear.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, man, if you could take that first step, then you're moving in a direction. A lot of people stay stagnant because of fear. Yeah. So, you know, when I started thinking about steps in life, when I started thinking about putting together, I was actually putting together my sons when I came with it now, putting together my oldest son, Lathan, his crib. And I skipped step 2, 3, and 4 because I was like, oh, man, I see it on the box.
Yeah.
And I realized to myself, you can skip as many steps as you think, and you can get all the way here. You can go from being a no-name person to a 5-star to the NFL. And that first snap you step on that field, because you skipped all those steps in between, everything's over. Yeah. And I'm a firm believer that that's what God does. Yeah. He tell you what to do, and he points you in the direction and which steps to take. But when you get off course and you start trying to go on your own path, he'll let you go. But eventually he'll knock you right back down and you'll be right back to him doing it his way. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the step by step came from.
I came to do the basketball tournament at Princeton. Remember? I came to do that, and you were halfway coaching, and somebody over there. But when me and you talked afterward, you said you had a vision that you was going to start training, that you had been training. But how did you talk about where your name came from? Wayne. I know it came from your first name, but you said Wayne World. How you come up with that?
So it's crazy. I sit here with coaching. You never know about somebody until they open up their mouth. But kind of likewise, him suffering his 2 setbacks on the 4th of July of 2019, I had 3 heart attacks. The first one was at Topgolf. A block away from Topgolf on Martin Luther King was the second one, and the third was at UAB with an audience. An audience mainly being my boys. So when you get to talking about faith, sometimes they have to see some things in order to believe it. It's not the same to say my dad survived 3 heart attacks, but I saw my dad. So now it's a different type of confidence and a different type of confidence in the Lord through me. So coming back and bouncing back from that in 3 days, I stayed in the hospital 3 days. I bounced back in 3 months. And number 3 is so powerful in my life now. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I apply it to everything I do now. And, it's the base formula of my training. So God told me now, for all the work that you've already done, because think about it, I come from Ensley as well. And so our past was different. It was all black and what we see hoodified, cars and stuff on jacks in the driveways and stuff. It's just what we was known. But when I got to Central Park Christian, I got a chance to see another side, and it kind of gave me a little balance on, hold up. I can still be myself over here and still be effective over here. So it started working. And the things I started doing were helping people, helping kids, teaching Sunday school, teaching all this became my world. I didn't have to be nobody else. I didn't have to train like Coach. I didn't have to train like Coach. Everything I was doing was in my own world. So I just started calling my training Wayne's World.
So many people now, they don't know that your son played UAB.
Yeah.
So you train him.
And they don't know my son is the number 1 wide receiver.
He's a bad man. He's
a freshman.
He's a bad man. And I saw him play with Pistol. I told you the older guy told me, hey man, you need to start coming together with Pistol. And I said, well, quarterback on. He said, I was some receivers and DBs there. So you had contact, you trained your son, then tell him who else you had contact with.
My son is best friends with, like Coach said, with Kool-Aid. So Kool-Aid comes out of my community. We all off of 2nd Avenue, right down the street from Princeton Elementary, like you say. So being able to be something those boys watched every day leisurely. We ain't talking about just playing sports. We talking about being kids.
Yeah.
We talking about front porch conversations with these 2 young men. We talking about sharing the same powerways or bebops and stuff like that in their relationship. So, if I would have had a stepped any kind of way left, I'm sure these boys would have been seeing that, So I always had to be an example, and look what it's produced.
Do they probably crazy question. Did they go at each other, like line up and
man, you're talking about 2 real humble kids that would probably wouldn't even argue with each other. He'd probably be quiet or be him in the quiet game and let him talk. They just 2 really humble kids that now, if it's time to compete, both of them has that dog in them. Of course, they're going to do what they got to do. But after it's over with, they're going to probably jump in the car and they're going out together.
Okay, Modern Day Fitness. I see a lot of trucks riding down the road. Modern Day Fitness. How did you come up with that name?
It's twofold, man. First of all, I want to say, man, I'm so happy to be on the set with y'all. Man, I'm just loving these stories, man. Y'all sit up here re-inspiring me, man. I ain't know y'all had that, man. That's some real story. But Modern Day Fitness is twofold.
Yeah. All
right. The first thing is a play on words. It's kind of like being in the hood. You see somebody called fat, but they really skinny.
Yeah.
So modern day meaning, when you say the word modern, you thinking new.
Yeah.
But anybody been around me, I'm old school as hell.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a play on words, modern day. But really, if you've been around me, I still believe in the old school.
Yeah.
Now, the second meaning is, when I was coming up and through all my reading and being in the NFL and doing some of the things I did, people always talk about athletes being modern day slaves. So, that's the new slavery, this, that, and other. And so basically, man, what I did was I decided I was going to create something by the grace of God that would actually teach kids how to use sports and not let sports use them. So basically, that's why if you ever hear me talking, I always say, man, I deal with kids with a holistic approach. I'm dealing with the whole kid. And that's why, because I realize everything matters. And especially when you're talking about success, one thing off in the chain can throw the whole body off. It's called a kinetic chain. It's the same thing with success. One thing off. So basically, that's kind of where it comes from. And another thing that when I talk about modern day, I'm a huge proponent. I believe in balance. If you ever see me speak or you ever been around me, I say God is balance. God, too much rain create a flood. Too much sun create a drought, but put them both together and the grass is perfectly green. So when I say this about modern day, one thing I believe in, even though I'm old school, I'm still smart enough to get out here and get new knowledge, because somewhere between the old and the new is the truth.
Yeah.
See, you get too far over here with this new stuff, that ain't hitting on nothing all the way.
Yeah.
If you get too far old, you ain't hitting no man God in the middle. So that's my whole concept with that play on words.
So you picking up something new for me too?
Oh man, hey man,
Good.
I'm always engaged with stories.
Yeah.
I love the story. I love to know how you got there.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. And I'm gonna say this, Ray, and I don't want to jump off subject, but when you talk about, I was the same way. I wasn't necessarily so much in love with one sport when I came up. I'm a journeyman. I love the journey more than I love anything. So when you go to talk about that, yeah, man, I love the journey. You could tell me, man, we're gonna clean carpets. I just like to see dirty carpet coming to clean carpet.
Boy.
I just love the journey. So when you say that, man, I respect that all the way, man. But my bad, Ray. I just
No, you good. You good.
Yeah.
Because I know. Every time I look around, I'm saying some Wayne World. I can post anything with step by step on it. Y'all stay busy. You know what I'm saying? And I get a lot of compliments when I post you all. And I want everybody to know that you all touch some people in the city. Not only in the city, some of y'all touch them in the county and hours. Now, let's talk about some techniques. I'm gonna ask a crazy question again. I always want to ask a crazy question. Like Steven, if the way you taught me in the trenches, and I go to the NFL and I'm getting my whoop, do I change my techniques or do I stick with them? Or do I just have to bow down and just get mad and just follow what you taught me?
But just to be honest with
Is that a crazy question?
there's no such thing as a crazy question.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
for one, if you ask a question, you're looking for an answer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some people fear doesn't allow them to even ask a question.
Yeah.
But when we're talking technique, just to be honest with you, from my opinion, if you're working on the proper technique consistently, so you say trenches.
Yeah.
I'll take a Jeremiah B. McKee.
Exactly.
I've had him since he was in the 9th grade. We don't do all that fancy stuff you see on YouTube. We don't do all that fancy stuff you see. I respect B. Jordan. I respect all these other guys that's doing it at a high level. But for me, and what works for me is teaching basic technique, because in any sport that you play, when you get outside of that basic technique, so I tell people all the time, I'm the San Antonio Spurs trainer. Now, from my marketing side, it's going to look flashy and everything else how I need to look, because it's a business. It's how I feed my family. But when you're talking about from the training, I'm going to bore you to death with the same stuff. I'm going to find other creative ways to teach you the same stuff. But in your head, you think you're doing something new. But what I know, you're doing the same thing over and over again. Because when somebody sit up there and tell you, well, coach, why you got 4 sets of 30 on the board of doing this technique? Well, how many snaps you going to play in a game? If you're going to play 60 plus snaps in a game, you probably need to train for 60 plus snaps and train.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So if somebody telling you, oh, you got to do 3 sets of 5 on bench. All right, cool. You thinking about 3 sets of 5 on bench. That means when them 20 reps run out that you train for, you're going to get your butt whooped the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? So when you talking technique, if there's somebody getting the league, somebody getting to college, and it's not working, I'm not going to tell them to change the technique.
I'm just saying the course of the game. Yeah, you know, he's playing
but that's the thing though.
Yeah,
A boxer don't change his training when he get in the match.
Yes, yeah.
He don't change his training. He sticks to his training, just like a jump shooter.
Yeah.
What they say about a shooter.
Yeah.
A shooter keeps shooting. You might have a night where you go 0 for 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a shooter keep doing? Keep shooting.
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing is, if you continue to go after that guy, it's going to be one play. All you need is one play for him to mess up on his technique, and you got him.
Dude, okay. We're in the youth side. I know y'all trainers, and I watch a lot of TV with football, watch videos of players. Which one is the popular one? Do you line a guy up, just standing up, or do you still go back to the 3-point stance? Still call it 3-point stance, right?
In football,
Yeah.
it just depends on the level we on.
It depends on the level, and it
How
depends
old
on the
is this
position.
kid?
So do they do the 3-point stance in high school?
So
Because I saw Beeman, like you mentioned Beeman, because I go do some of his games. Sometimes I see him in the 3-point stand, and sometimes I see him.
So let's talk about
Yeah,
it. He's
yeah.
done now.
Yeah.
I respect Coach Warren, and I respect all the high school coaches.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell them all the time, do what your coaches say do first. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they control your destiny when it comes to playing on that field.
Yeah.
You know, now when you get to these camps and everything else, that's when you use your training and stuff like that. Beeman's senior year, he was standing up a lot. I know, everybody else know, he's not a jack linebacker.
Yeah.
That kid's 292 pounds now. He been at school. He went to school at 255 in January. He's gonna be a 305, 310 guy with his hand in the dirt. It aggravated me because it was something different. But I had to tell him to work the technique that his coaches was telling him to do.
Yeah.
But knowing what he was going to do at the next level, I made sure he worked on what the school needed him to work on. And I made sure he worked on what he needed to work on for his future.
Good point. Good point.
So literally when you ask, do they have a hand down? It depends on scheme. It depends on the athleticism of the player. Depends on the coach. You know what I'm saying? Because some coaches use different techniques.
Do you think Beeman, a lot of people, they say he's 3 and done. Think so?
For one, they ain't God.
Yeah.
Secondly, I've seen this kid miss 13 days of training from 9th grade to his senior year. Only 13 days.
Yeah.
So if I take a kid that go out here and work his butt off, do the yoga, do the stretch, do everything else he's supposed to do, work on his body, and have the faith and keep doing, he got more of a shot than somebody that's sitting on the internet judging him saying he's 3 and done.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, now you play receiver. You taught your son receiver. Now I hear a lot of people on TV talking about it depends. A good receiver got to have big hands, a little. Is that true, man? Or they just
I don't know, man.
commentators.
I've always been cracked on because my hands were considered to be so large than normal, you know. So I ain't never really played against the kids or guys with small hands to be like, hey, what is it? He catching that ball, but he got small hands, you know. So that's more of a myth. The catch is in the person. The catch, you could catch that ball with no hands if you talk properly.
Do you prefer to catch it out here or just catch it on your body? How it come?
I have no preference.
No
So
preference.
I catch it and make sure I'm getting me a touchdown. I don't just catch balls. I'm trying to get to the end zone.
Yeah.
I caught 56 touchdowns at Miles, so I wasn't just trying to catch the ball and play around with it. You know? So it's all about your mentality.
So you can say you scored 56 touchdowns, and you know we was at most of them games. We were. So when you come to the line of scrimmage and you see a DB, what's your first thing come to mind? Especially when when you're playing, did they bump and run you? They bump and run, or they just use it? You face like most of the zone.
That's the greatest question ever. So my freshman year, let's go back to how I got to Miles.
Yeah.
I'm a basketball star. I'm getting ready to go to Tennessee Volunteers. I've already committed. And I went to Miles, and it was just rebuilding. Coach Leonard was on campus. They were just now getting started. I was just up there with my cousin, Michael Howard, who was the quarterback at the time. He had just transferred from Alabama State when Coach Leonard got the job. And I just happened to be just up there with him, just, you know, I'm going to wait till they finish working out, and we're going to go hang out after it's over with. I caught a couple of passes. Now, I'm a high school quarterback at Ennisler High School, freshman year. And, well, actually, my sophomore year and my junior year. I couldn't play football my freshman year because I was out of zone. And the coaches from West End, when they told them at Ennisler, if you play, then y'all forfeit your season. So I sat out my 9th grade year. I played my 10th grade year and my 11th grade year. And I was the 4th top quarterback in the state. But I wanted to play basketball better than I wanted to play football. Transition to Central Park Christian, numbers in basketball. Transition to Lawson State, Junior College Player of the Year. Then go up to Miles just to be a supporter and caught a couple of passes. And then Coach Leonard bought us some chicken. And he asked Mike, he said, well, what Wayne gonna do? He said, oh, he going to Tennessee. He said, oh, no, hell, he ain't. He coming here. He just took some money from me. That's green, bro. I ain't got no dad in my life, never had no kind of male direction. You know, I'm kind of one that the coach always would love and just kind of guide me on through. So when he said that about I took some money from him, I'm like, I ain't stole nothing. You know what he mean? He's like, no, dog, you know, it's against the NCAA rules. If he bought you something to eat or something, man, you know, that's how I ended up in my house, because I had lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that was God shifting me. You was going to this place that was a desolate land before, and we're finna get ready to bring it back to life. And I tell you about it years later, you'll look back and you'll thank me. Had I not gone to Miles, I wouldn't be here with y'all right now. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up going up there, and then I was like, well, I don't know what he's talking about. He was like, oh, you got to come up here and play. Before you know it, I was enrolled in Miles. So now in my freshman year, I ain't played football in 2 years. I've been playing basketball. I ain't to the league.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you skipped 2 years.
I didn't play football my senior year. I went to Central Park Christian. I didn't play football my next year. transferred. I went to Gadsden State and transferred back to Lawson State. Had a little girl and came home. So I ain't even play no football. I was through getting tackled when I left high school. I was finished with that life. And ended up at Miles. And then my first game, I'm at wide receiver, a position I ain't never been taught, never been trained, don't know nothing about other than just going out and just letting them throw it up and I go get it. And Coach Leonard ended up changing my life at that position. And my first game as a freshman, I'm looking at single coverage. Oh, I got this. Boo, boo, boo. 11 touchdowns my first year. But my sophomore year, all that changed. Now I got one in front of me, and now I got the linebacker right here. I got the safety, and now I got the cornerback. My first couple of games.
Yeah.
This coming out the gate. Then the next game, I thought probably hit him up about 5 touchdowns. The next game, now they done took the linebacker and put him in my face, literally. Put the cornerback behind him and rolled the safety over. That's what I saw from my sophomore year all the way through my senior year. Wow. I caught 56 touchdowns.
So you saw a lot of stuff, man.
I saw a lot of coverages, man.
And then I don't even think when y'all had the ball at 20 and 15, everybody would run down to the fence because they had a play for you to that corner. I don't know what y'all called it, but
fade.
Yeah. And Leonard, he stayed. I liked him because he traveled by air. He didn't like, he'll run the ball, but mostly he going to the air.
And my gift was I had a 38-inch vertical. So it was nothing with a little bit of cornerbacks to out jump him. It was just a simple pitch and catch. My quarterback been with me since the 6th grade. So
Howard was a good quarterback.
Yeah.
See, many people don't remember him at Parker. He was lights up. He go 340, 350.
And he played behind Gary Clayton and Robert Jones and all those cats. Orlando Truitt and all those cats that played in the league.
Okay, me and Stevens, we were talking as we were coming. He was coming in. We're talking about 1-star and 5-star, and he was telling me, he was schooling me on some stuff. But when you training somebody, how in the world could you tell somebody that? And like Steven said, that's just the magazines or newspapers. Somebody probably hadn't seen them play. Politics. So
opinions.
If you get somebody, say a 4-star, between a 1-star, 5-star, what can you tell a 4-star? Do they have bad technique as a 4-star, 5-star? Do they still have bad? They're 5-star, but they still got bad techniques.
And I promise you, I mean, of course, I'll be a fool to sit here and say you don't hear the chatter about these 4 and 3 but one thing I learned is a lot of kids and the people around them think they're talented.
Yeah.
But your gifts came on a truck faster than everybody else. And this is what I mean. You'll get some kids in Little League and you will see them and be like, man, they dominating out there. But that kid about as good as he gonna get. He don't reach full maturity. Then you got another kid, 14, 15 years old. He's sitting on the bench and don't nobody know. One day he'll become Otis Leverett, who will go to the NFL. I'm telling you, because I went through this myself.
Yeah.
Because I learned the hard way, like these stars and all this, and then all these rankings, man. I mean, really and truly, man, these are just boastful predictions. Which the way you know a 4 and a 5-star is 4 or 5 years later. You know, when you go to talking this 4, I can remember getting Jameis Winston at 13, 14 years old, and from the very beginning, bro, first thing I'm like, man, look, I really don't really care about where we at right now. And then, of course, he didn't have an offer at that time.
Yeah.
But you could tell the way I knew he was special and gifted was not because of how far he could throw or how fast he can run. Man, he had this ability to apply things at record pace. So I knew then, I say, because see, one of the biggest lies ever told, that knowledge is power. It's the application of knowledge. I can see a lot of kids say they're not being coached and not, a lot of parents, they ain't coaching my child. Some kids are really, truly being coached and poured into. They have the inability to apply what they're being taught. When that kid could get something one day and then come back the very next day, and if I change one detail, he would correct me. I said, it's different. So what I'm saying is, then at that point, once I realized all these other things, I started to look at the things that were natural, the throwing, the running off. That was second nature to me. But what I said all that to say, Ray, I was unmoved by who he was supposed to be, because potential is, anybody train me to tell you potential is a cuss word. I don't want to hear about what your potential is. I want to see what we can really become, because in my eyes, every single kid you train should be overachieving. If you give me LeBron James, I want him to overachieve according to even what his talent said it should do. So if you're not overachieving, then you're not around the right people. So stars, to answer your question, mean nothing to me. It's the biggest joke on the planet. If you're a 4 or 5 star, we'll know in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not gonna beat around the bush. Jameis Winston, he got a bad name in the NFL. They don't know him. Tell us something about it.
Oh man, it's just it's all narrative. Let me tell you this, man. Everything turns into WWE. Even when we were watching wrestling as kids, you had the good wrestlers and you had the bad wrestlers, and they create narratives and storylines. They do the same thing in sports.
Yeah.
The movie The Batman is no good without the Joker. Jameis Winston has been planted to be the Joker for the NFL, because they need that to keep the storyline going. He's the bad guy, and Brady and all these other guys are Captain America. Let's just be honest with you. And so it's all one big storyline, all one big reality show. If you around this guy for 2 minutes, and you seen that in New Orleans this last year when they had the whole deal about him not downing the ball. Jimmy, what my guy named Big Tight End, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
This guy don't play with Aaron Rodgers, don't play with Drew Brees, and say Jameis Winston the best teammate he ever had. This guy gonna go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We can go on and on. Over 80 people came out of the National Football League, have been a teammate of Jameis Winston on his behalf afterwards.
Yeah.
Those are the real people that know the real story.
Yeah.
So the truth be told, when you go to talking about Jameis Winston, it is all a narrative. In all sports is, and people, I'm watching it happen with Caitlin Clark right now.
Yeah.
People, keep your eyes on it.
Yeah.
They're turning those young ladies against her right now,
Good
so
point.
they can create a storyline.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing to Jameis Winston. He's just the Joker, man, and the Batman. And what Batman movie would you watch without the Joker? We can say what we want to say, but the Joker made the movie good.
Because I thought Shannon Sharpe was out of line. And they get paid, but I thought he was out of line because Jameis, I met him, and he been one of my favorite players because, man, he can air it out. I remember he threw 5,000 yards, but see, they don't tell us that.
But
They tell us about the interception.
But that's the stuff that everybody know, because the people that truly know him, we may have a platform, but we can't compete with Fox.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the people that truly know him,
Yeah,
even if we speak in a group together,
yeah.
they're gonna do everything in their power to wash it out.
Good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
And the biggest thing for me is something that his dad said to us when we was younger, when he was in the 9th grade. He looked at me and him and said, y'all gonna come back to this city and impact this city in ways y'all can't even understand. And I was like, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm gonna talk around, like, man, all right, I'm gonna make it to the league, I'm gonna come back and do stuff.
Yeah.
But Jameis, since day one, like a lot of these other cats, I respect anybody else who came from the cities in the NFL that have made professional sports. But don't nobody genuinely come back like him.
He come back.
And he support not only the kids,
Yeah.
but he support everybody else. And he ain't studying the camera. He got no camera crew with him.
Yeah.
We at James Bradbury thing last Friday.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? He gonna talk to me the same way he did when we used to fuss and yell at each other in the huddle back then. Because he's truly genuine, and he's the same person on camera that he is off camera.
Hey, good. He got y'all get used to get the fussing.
Yeah, you got to think. I come in. I grew up in that system where here time when I came in, I'm already an outsider.
Yeah.
And I got Besseman
That's a good
Brighton.
point. Yeah.
I got Besseman Brighton leading me.
Yeah.
And it's when you a freshman, you don't talk.
Yeah.
You don't say nothing. It don't matter about your leadership or nothing. And that's something I learned later in life. Like, you can't put an age on leadership. You can't put an age on wisdom.
Yeah.
And literally in my head, I got programmed to, if you're a freshman, you don't talk. Because that's the rules.
Yeah.
When I came in here time, it was 0-24 when I came in.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, we're going to stick to the rules because we won a little bit and we're trying to keep winning. So my senior year, when you come in and you got a kid that not afraid to tell you something's wrong, he's not afraid to question the coach's call, it's different. And if you're not taught that being able to speak up for yourself and stand on the truth when you see it, you're going to think something wrong with him. You know, so plenty of time the huddle, he'll say something, hey, make this call, and I'm like, write 38 down. And he'll be like, nah, man, we're going to run 36 up. I think it's a better play. I'm like, well, coach said. And then when I started to figure out, hey, this young dude a little different, I said, hold on, let me watch the film too.
Yeah.
'Cause I wasn't watching film in high school. I was fast. I ran the football. I had been a third or fourth string running back at East Lake Park behind Jeremy Cox and Sean Reed and limit all those greats, you know what I'm saying, that was in front.
Yeah.
So I've been that guy that was on the bench, you know what I'm saying? So getting to that point, I said, man, you know what? I said, one or two things gonna happen. I can embrace the fact that he's a young quarterback and he's a leader, or I can try to wash it out and make it about myself. And just to be honest with you, I started fighting not with him anymore, but for him. We get in the huddle, he make a call, and no guys be like, man, L, you heard what he said? I said, y'all heard what he said, we running it.
So he make his own calls in the room?
Listen, man, a lot of people don't know it. That man saw stuff and he was making checks like he would pay money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing was, we started meshing to the point where Coach Smith trusted me. In return, me trusting Jameis helped them trust him more in those situations. So when he called right 36 over, he called 25 bootleg, and I faked the bootleg and run whatever different route that we changed it to, and it worked. When it worked, your coach ain't saying nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
If it don't work, that's when he on your butt. You know what I'm
You
saying?
already know you got.
But he been doing the stuff
Yeah.
the stuff he doing in the league, the stuff that they see training is Dak Prescott, stuff they want to talk about. Oh, that man Jameis did that first. Jameis and Otis been doing those drills that Dak get credit for.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So a lot of this stuff is unseen because we're not worried about cameras when we putting in real work.
Yeah.
But because of the game that we in, because of the business, this is how we feed our family.
Yeah.
We got to add cameras and everything else to it.
Yeah.
Because the old school traits still work. Grandma and the reason why we had these issues we had with parents and kids not there because we don't have enough grandparents.
Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the grandparents like 35.
Yeah.
Now we go back. We keep hopping back on you playing that receiver. So you trained your son. How long did you train him? From what age?
So he wanted to start. I didn't want him to play football. I was hoping he wouldn't play football.
Well, why would you hoping that?
Just from personal experience.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, wasn't no longevity
Yeah.
to it, to me, unless that's all you're going to do. We come from playing a lot of sports. So when he said, Dad, I just want to play football, is when we really started, locking in, which was transition from high school, but then he wanted to come play. He didn't want to play at first. So the boys in the barber shop was playing throw up tackle, and that's why he was getting a haircut. And he was running the ball. He saw it was fun. He wanted to go and play with them. We ended up going to Park West. Well, I wanted to get him somewhere where nobody would take him off of my face.
Yeah.
That's Wayne's son. We're going to get him in. And now he caught up in something. He'll never get a chance to be who he is, So I started. He came to me. I was like, you want to play? He's like, I want to play football. He had no teeth in his mouth in the front. And I was like, okay. So I took him to the backyard, and I had a rake. I had a garbage can. I had a shovel. I had everything that made 11 people. And I set it up, and we started learning the holes. We started learning what he do. We started learning what the rake do, which is the safety. And we started learning this, and then at 5 years old, he applied it. The next thing you know, the kid had 50 touchdowns at 5 years old playing quarterback. And then it kept progressing. Then we won a cup, we won a championship at Park West. Then I became the president. And then still ended up, a guy came to me and was like, man, we need you at Fultondale. The kids, they just don't know what winning is. Like, man, going over there to that park, and kids ain't good. But ended up, God sent me to Fultondale, me and my son, and with the talents there, kids started catching on.
Yeah.
And they started loving playing for him. Now we got Kelby Collins off my team that's at Florida right now, the defensive line. And we got all those kids that pretty much came out right now. Bubba, all of them, they all come from the same.
Kool-Aid, Cam Silver.
Kool-Aid was a little older than Bubba and Martin. They was always younger and stuff. And that generation of guys, Beeman and stuff like that, man, they just started coming around. I mean, we just started being around that type of talent. And back to when he was a kid, I taught him the game. He just started getting it, and he just never looked back. He never looked back.
So at what particular time you saw him and you said, he got it?
When he had the mindset to call his own plays.
Yeah.
When he had the mindset in the championship game, we was at Park West 5 years old, and we were down by probably 3 points, I want to say, but it was only 6 seconds left on the clock. All they had to do was, we have no timeouts. All they had to do was just take a knee.
Yeah.
But they messed around and fumbled. And we got the ball back, and we had one play, and we was on the 1 yard line. Got to go 99, and when the coach called a play, my son was like, "Oh no, coach, run such and such, such and such." And man, that ended up being a 99. Oh, he got got it now. I never had to worry about nothing else going forward. He was always first in drills. I instilled that, stretching. Like when I tell them now, the NFL want trying to see your preparation before you even play the game. What you doing before you play the game is what they want to invest in.
Yeah.
They want to see how you a pro before you a pro. So by the time I learned the game and learned the business, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna close some doors that he don't have to worry about going through because I know I already went through. You're gonna stay on this path, and I think you're gonna like it.
Did you have like how much input you had on him choosing UAB?
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had already committed to Virginia.
Mhm.
And it just wasn't the move. And God was like, no, that's not my plan. And he told it to me plain today, but I had to sit back because, you know, I had to be able to approach with understanding so that we can transition him to UAB. So things had to happen. And God worked in mysterious ways, and rest in peace to those guys that played for Virginia that were killed. But those 3 wide receivers that were killed in Virginia, you remember that? Around that time?
Yeah.
Well, he was supposed to be down there around that time on a visit.
Wow.
And there were wide receivers that were killed. What position does my son play? Wide receiver. So he probably would have been in that atmosphere. Who's to say?
Yeah.
You know, thank God for a hedge of protection, but that wasn't his will. And I needed to continue to raise him because he just turned 18. So, you know, what I look like sending him on off without the proper raising, to be calling back all the time and expensively trying to fly down there all the time. And Lord knows they called me and said, it was a shooting. How would I have gotten to him fast enough? I can get downtown.
Yeah.
I get UAB real
Good
quick.
point.
If I can't, I got somebody that can get there.
Yeah.
You know, without a problem. So UAB was just the greatest platform that we could have got on because they never had a superstar. They had some stars.
Yeah.
They ain't never had a superstar. So now we playing some superstar seed in UAB, which gonna make other kids around here look forward to going there.
Okay, now you got a couple of players. Now, if I'm looking for somebody to train my kids, if I had somebody playing sport, I'm looking for you 3. I'm looking for somebody that's got a good resume. And just like Steven just said, he taught Jeremiah Beaman, and I see him all the time. But then you go back, tell about Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Tell him how you know with Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson came to me 8th going to 9th, summer of 8th going to 9th grade. Skinny kid. At the time, I think he was a pretty decent youth league player. His mom told me straight up, she said, man, he ain't never sweated. He ain't never came to the car tired. Ain't no coach ever wore him out. The first day I trained him, he almost fell out of his mama and he went to sleep in the car. She couldn't even get him up. You know, we laugh about the story all the time. She said, that's your trainer. And from that point on, man, we've been riding because she knew I was going to push him every time till it wasn't nothing left. And, you know, Mike was just, Mike, we call him still to this day. The running joke is he's MDF baby. So out of all of my kids, he turned into the baby of the bunch because all them boys raised him. Jameis, Joe McCandless, Jack, Ladarius Jackson, all those guys pretty much raised him because his mama just left him with us. Like he was with me everywhere I went, Mike went. Like literally. So I'm always grateful for her because she was one of the last of a dying breed that truly, because you know, right now we're in the midst of a gender war. And let's just be honest, man, men don't like women and women don't like men. If you online and you see what's going on in society, it's a lot harder now to find women who will trust you with their children the way that lady trusted me with her son. And so I always have respect for
and maybe that's the point I was trying to get with Steve's and about the trust. Probably I should have went to the parents too. Because right now it's a new generation. It's straight. But you know, Michael Jackson, I like him because he got some man in him. I'm a man. You know, I'm a Hurricane man. He got some man. I went to see him at Georgia Tech.
You know, you got to respect what Mike did. Mike did something that people don't talk about. What is the state of Florida known for? DBs.
DB.
You leave the Alabama with when Auburn and Alabama, none of them gave you a look, and you go down there and start and be an all ACC player and get drafted in the NFL at the University of Miami where it's DBU,
Yeah.
and you find a way to get on the field as a starter out of Birmingham, Alabama. It's almost unheard of. People don't really talk about what Mike did, but like I always told people, and most of the kids, the real ones that have stayed with me over time, man, all they need is a pocket knife, a compass, and some matches, and they can get out the woods.
Yeah.
They can navigate. So you can put Mike down there with all, and he used to call me all the time, like, man, these cats in Miami really think they scare me, like, or these cats in Florida really think I'm scared. But Mike was like, man, I'm gonna show him. And over the years, man, it took him a little while. It took him to the late sophomore year into his junior year to break that starting lineup. But when he did, he made some noise. National. Still making noise.
Yeah, right. So Coach Stevens, you give me a name of a player that you got that was raw, and don't be scared to give yourself credit because y'all deserve the credit. You know, I hate somebody shout with him credit. Just give me a name that you first got and they were raw, and you said, I got a lot of work to do, but I'm gonna get the job done. I'm not gonna turn my back on him. He's a little raw, but I'm gonna get him to the next level.
Probably, let me try to see what we want about position. Because, you know, of course, the guys like the Beamers and all of those guys were guys that are already good, and all I was doing was helping groom them along. It's just, to be honest, it's hard to really say because I did some kids in middle school.
Yeah.
And that's that transition going. Honestly, it's not popular to say, but I got an 11-year-old, Trey Garrett.
Yeah.
That was the first ever kid that I trained. And Trey Garrett, I used to pick him up in his car seat in the back of my Charger and take him to train because his dad had cancer. It had just beat cancer.
Yeah.
And literally, if you want to do step-by-step work, you look at that kid.
Yeah.
That kid plays multiple sports. That kid plays multiple positions in every sport. That kid has a work ethic that's crazy. He eats to a meal plan already at 11 years old. He does whatever I ask him. He's never questioned anything I told him. I tell him, you back crawl that parking lot, bare hands. He do it. Because I've done it before. I've told him to do it before. And his mama turned around and look at me and go, Coach, what you doing to my baby? But she back away and she say it.
Yeah.
Because she like, I trust you, but I'm it's hard because I'm a mama bear.
Yeah.
But his mom and dad both on the same page saying that, hey, you have invested in our child. You really care about our child. We're going to trust you with them. I've had other guys like Naeem Alford that's trained with me since he was in the 7th grade. I've had Caleb Johnson that went from 9th grade, trained him. Earl Woods that I've been training since he was in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
You know, you've had those names like that.
I didn't know you trained Earl Woods.
But those are kids that had success at a young age. My brother, Jaden Thomas. My brother won a state championship in basketball at Best Academy in 9th grade. These are kids that, like O said, a lot of these guys have the side. They got measurables that when people start going, are you a 4 or 5 star? They look at those measurables first, the height, weight, the wingspan, and all that. My hands ain't as big as Wayne. Yeah. But I caught plenty of touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where when I look at a lot of these kids, that they had a talent already where their dads invested in them and stuff like that. Yeah, so I can't take no credit for those.
Okay, I got you.
That's why I got to literally look at a 3-year-old who a dad said, hey, I didn't play football. I played basketball a little bit at Woodlawn. This is my child. Yeah. So in about 10 more years, then you can ask me, hey, who is somebody that you know what I'm saying? Because I've literally picked him up in a car seat. It's not any other kid other than my children that I can say I had in the car seat in the back of my car. You know what I'm saying? So those are the kids you can genuinely say, hey, I took that kid from what he was from the dirt and built him something.
How good is Alford?
So, and I tell people all the time, man, that kid is as good as he want to be. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's super talented, long. He got all the tools. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, like his dad did a good job coaching him. You know, he come from a good pedigree. What folks don't realize is his cousin, Caleb Alford, went to Notre Dame first. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He had cousins before him to go. Yeah. His brother, his brother that I trained, Makai Hughes.
So you train him?
Yeah, I've been training Makai since he was in the 9th grade.
I did not
know so Makai Hughes, I told SEC coaches, I said, this is an SEC running back. I've seen him before. I've been around him. I played with him. You see what I'm saying? I told him. And he go down to Tulane as a freshman, and he showed him what? He's an SEC back, and now SEC schools want to call and tell him I got NIL for you. But this kid is such a loyal kid that this kid literally said, you know what? Staying at Tulane.
Yeah,
My
because he
degree
lost
and
his,
everything
he lost
else.
his coach. You know, his coach went somewhere.
He lost his coach and he stayed. But
Yeah,
at the same time,
yeah.
you got to understand a lot of kids who are really truly trying to set out and make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Yeah.
not worried about being at Alabama or Auburn or being at the big school. They say, you know what, I bet on myself. And I tell people, a lot of people don't know. And honestly, I didn't even know Wayne at the time. I've been getting to know Wayne over the last like 2 to 3 years. I've heard of him.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was Mari daddy because Mari don't talk.
Don't talk.
But Mara was talking to me because he was around Earl, because he was around Kool-Aid, because he was around K-Camp, those guys that were training with me. He would come and sit in there.
Yeah.
And if you sit in there long enough with me, I can't let you sit in there and not do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, you go over there and do something what they doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he called me with the Virginia situation because Coach Mims was up there and he went to Spain Park.
Yeah.
And he said, Coach, he said,
It's Keith
man,
Mills, son.
Oh,
Who you
for
talking about?
real?
Yeah.
he said, man, what you got
That's
going
my
on?
world.
He
That's my
said, Coach, what you got going on? Can you help me, man? Like, I know it's late in the game. I'm trying to figure this out, this, and this. And I said, well, man, who helped you make a decision? He said, my mama, my daddy. And I was like, well, what I want you to do is I'm going to tell you people that are interested. And I'm going to leave it in your lap. Because in 3 to 4 years, you would not turn around and look at Coach L and say that I went here because of Coach L, because that's your journey.
Yeah.
I went to a school. I
Yeah.
went to Jacksonville State because somebody said I was bigger than Alabama State.
Right.
Yeah.
But I could have went to Alabama State and been whatever.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where when Mark came to me and asked me, I was like, look, dude, you got every tool. I was selling them to Alabama. I was selling them to Auburn. I would tell Freddie, you crazy. You took Jameer Hurley, this kid up here who was four-star bid Florence, and he dominated, killed them in the game with a quarterback who was injured. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he was doing everything to get it. You know, it's one of those things where, man, these times have changed.
Yeah.
And it's rare that you find kids that stay loyal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One thing, man, Otis talked about years ago, because I used to get, I'm a person that respects order.
Yeah.
And he'll OG. Kevin Brown, an OG. A lot of these other guys are OGs, and I respect them as OGs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when a lot of kids go from one spot and then they'll come to me, and they'll go to another spot and come to me, O say, hey, man, I don't mind my guys being with you. Because what O realizes is I'm O, and L ain't me. But at the same time, if I'm not here, at least I know there's somewhere where I can trust that they're being. And it's the same way for me.
Good point. Good
You know,
point.
so
Good
it's
point.
one of those
That's a
things
good point.
where you got the biggest issue now is the parents. The parents want to go, Otis ain't doing this, or Kevin ain't doing this, or
you know.
L ain't doing this. And because of that, now you have a kid who's looking at them just like two parents who separated.
Yeah.
If two
Yeah.
parents are separated saying your dad ain't nothing, your mama ain't nothing, now you got a kid who love both of them, who
Yeah.
like, you know what, I'm gonna either go left, right, or somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
it's the same thing in the trainer where instead of
Yeah.
them saying, hey, look, you get what you need from this out of him, you get what you need from this out of him, and collectively, because Antonio said all the time, Antonio Winston said all the time, because I'd be like, man, take a village. He said, hell, it took a village back then. It take a nation to raise one.
Whole
Yeah.
nation.
Yeah.
And what's crazy
Yeah.
is when you look at the
Yeah.
components of training, when you look at the components of raising a child now, every element that you go to, there's no way in the world that a college head coach will survive at a high school. You don't have the same support staff.
Yeah.
As you grow in life, as you grow in the profession, you got more and more support around you because you need more and more people to help you be successful and sustain it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the issues I see now. But I'm good to know, Wayne, because it's like now I'm meeting him. I'm like, I needed to meet him on the back end.
Yeah.
Because now it's like when I was wondering why this kid was like this, and you ain't the type of dad that stand up and go, hey, this my son on me. You always stayed back and was quiet. And by the time the game was gone, so I wasn't paying attention who was hugging and kissing who.
Yeah.
But that kid, literally, you could tell why he's like that by hearing his dad's story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like O said, what I try not to do is I try not to judge people. Because at the end of the day, I was the kid being judged.
Yeah.
I'm the trainer that get judged.
Yeah.
And until I open my mouth, I don't have time. Wayne don't have time. I don't have time. For one, we happy to come on this podcast because it's giving us an opportunity to let somebody in a little bit on who we are. Because most of the time we don't have time because we're investing in other people's children.
Yeah.
That's not our
Yeah.
own.
Yeah. And then that's a good point because parents right now you spend a lot of time with them and then all that stuff they turn on you and start talking. But you spending time, so like when I play basketball, I spend a lot of time with Coach F. You know, we go to practice in the morning, we go take a shower, then we go to class, then back out there again. So now you got to invest in the coaches. Parents need to sometimes step back a little bit and let them get trained, let them get coached.
But I don't know. That's what I was talking about earlier, though, when we talk about the holistic approach.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man. Most of these kids are not getting where they need to go, not because of a 40, not because of a vertical, not because they highlight tape. them and their parents are missing the number one ingredients to being great. You know what that ingredient is? Being grateful.
Yeah.
You can't be great without being grateful.
Preach.
Yeah.
Because of the ungrateful nature, a lot of the times, it's putting people in tough situations because you got all the speed, you got all the hype, you got all the film, but you just don't have the respect for what the good Lord sent you.
Yeah.
So when you neglect his gifts, man, you end up going, you end up going Atlanta the long way.
Yeah.
You don't went up to Nashville, you got to come back around, transfer 3-4 times, go back through Texas all the way to get back to Atlanta. And quite frankly, most people don't even make it back to the final destination. But the grateful ones just realize if I hit I-20 West, like Coach L and Coach Wayne told me, because they done hit I-20 West before and they know the road. I ain't got to go all the way back around the bend because I can just be grateful for who God put in my life.
I won't take a kid without prayer. Like we got to pray. I got to discern this situation. Or I'd be like, well, you probably need Coach L, man. He real good, because he probably got that temperament and spirit for something that God ain't equipped me for. So I ain't gonna take it on.
Do you fuss a lot? Oh, hey, just be truthful.
Well, just to be honest with you, I do. The crazy thing about it is I know how to teach how I was taught.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to connect with some and some of them I'm not going to connect with, because all I can do for you is what I've learned and what I've experienced to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, kind of back to what I was saying, is one of those things where from a holistic approach, when you sit down and you do a puzzle, in order to complete the puzzle, you got to have all the pieces. And if you start removing pieces and trying to put pieces you want to put in certain spots, it ain't going to come together. You know what I'm saying? So all of us are puzzle pieces. We're put in people's lives for a purpose. Whether it's to hold these other two pieces together, these other three, these other six. Right. If you remove one, it can't sustain. And when it comes to yelling and screaming and stuff like that, just to be honest with you, I've told parents several times before, if you can't take how I talk to your kid, understand that I love your child, it's for you to take your money and leave and go find somebody else. And I can confidently say that because I know I'm bagged by God and not bagged by myself. You know what I'm saying? So, I yell a lot.
Yeah, I can't see it, but I got to come out there and see.
Most time Holland ain't recording.
I come from the most cousinless coach in college football.
You're right about that.
Like no word was ever a good word. It was always a cuss word. So I always said, I ain't really got to talk to people to reach them like that. Not knocking coach, because, I was one of the kids that didn't bother me. I know it wasn't personal and direct, but kids that were from Florida and Chicago and stuff, they couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And so that was just one of my approaches to see, like, if I need to turn that on, though, I'll turn it on.
He fussed at you a lot? Leonard Colon?
Man, he only said one bad thing to me in my whole career. We was getting ready to play homecoming, and we was coming off the hill. We walk on down the whole neighborhood before we get on the field.
Yeah.
And I had on some gloves. I ain't never wore no gloves in my life. It's my sophomore year. And we was coming down on the hill, and I was going to try to go on the field without him seeing me, because for some reason he was one of them coaches that just could discern anything. Now, B, you ain't playing in that today. You take the headband off or whatever. He was just about what he taught. And I came down, he seen the white gloves on, and he came up on the side of me and said, look here, B. If you drop one, I'll kill you. You can't put gloves on gloves. I was like, what do you mean about that? You can't put gloves on. That just made my confidence go to the roof.
Yeah.
But Coach Leonard was one of the most disrespectful talking coaches that somebody that could ever play for me. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Tell them about the black boots. What the black boots do for?
Comeback boot. Coach and comeback boots all the way from high school. He was one of the winningest high schools in the city. Yeah. Or whatever, but at Parker High School. But he coached in comeback boots and super short coaching shorts. Back in the day, he had on them short boys. But Coach was so fit that when it was time to run gases and stuff, he could beat half of the guys on the team from the 100 all the way to the 100 in them comeback boots.
Wow, man.
R.I.P. to Coach Leonard, man.
Yeah. Now, many people don't know James has a brother.
Yeah, John.
Pretty good.
The real deal. he got to keep on working. And if he was sitting right here, I ain't, I ain't, but is everything in place?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything in place, and there's pedigree there, and there's a road map already there. But he got work to do, but he has it. He has it. Yeah.
So he's what he is like? He got speed, or he just good. He just run good routes or something like that. A combination of both.
I can tell you this: I had a kid, because anybody training me knows I'm always on competition. I just think if you learn to be a competitor, everything else take care of itself. So we run hundreds some days, competition hundreds. If you win, you out. If don't, you got more running. I put him out there. He came back from baseball. His first day back from baseball. It's a true story. This is about 3-4 weeks ago. I got a kid out there that had just ran 10.6 in the 100 in the state track meet. I put them on the goal line. This kid just done left state track because you got to realize baseball and track run congruent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All I can tell you is Jonah Winston not ran him, and that kid ran 10.6 on the Acro track.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm gonna let you make your own assumption.
Yeah.
But the beautiful part of him, again, Jamie's gonna stay on that rear end. Ant gonna stay on that rear end.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do my thing. So ain't no like when you talk about all those different places, one person preaching his message, the other person preaching his message, and of course Miss Loretta, God bless her. She been there with her riding the whole way, and again, just a beautiful relationship with the way her aunt raised their kids, man, and you see it, man, and there ain't no entitlement there. And he know he gonna have to work for it. But does he have it? Oh yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you.
We were talking about Alford. You said he's the real deal?
Yeah, he the real deal. He got.
Was you shot with Ohio State? You kind of knew, because every time I did a game with him, he had the gear on up on his helmet, and I said, I think he's gonna go Ohio State.
Well, I knew they were in play. I didn't have an idea that he was gonna jump and commit to him, because like I said, that's for him and his parents to decide.
Yeah.
And some parents come to me and say, "Hey, Coach Ed, we want you a part of this decision." Some parents say, "Hey, Coach, what's your opinion?" And then they make decisions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's on them. And it's one of those things where with recruiting, period, it ain't done until the ink dry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he's fully committed to Ohio State, but at the same time, when people continue to recruit people, and then we got kids who are easily influenced, and then we have kids who change their mind. We have parents that change their mind.
Yeah.
Things happen. Coaches go different places.
Yeah.
I tell kids all the time, make a decision based upon a 40-year decision and not a 4-year. So when you start looking at the institution, you can't say, "Oh man, I went there because of Coach Saban." Jeremiah Beeman and Jalen Mbagwa were the last 2 recruits that ever have Coach Saban come to an official visit right before he retired. I sit in both houses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you sit there and you look at it, you go, all right, most of these kids were going to Alabama for one man. But that one man gone. Did you go there because of the winning nature of the school, how they do things?
Yeah.
It's so many different components on why you choose a school, and it got to be for you and not for mama, not for dad, and not for everybody else, and not for the NIL. Because if you go and do what you're supposed to do, the money gonna come anyway, and the money that you make those 4 years, you'll pay more than that in taxes on the money that you get in the NFL once you get there. Because I've had a kid, Byron Young, who I trained, he sit up there and tell me he complaining. I'm listening to him complain on paying almost $700,000 in taxes on his money, and I'm listening to another kid who going, "Coach, they offer me $700."
Yeah,
and I'm just like, he hyped about this $700, not knowing that $700 to be
right
what he paying in taxes if he know what he's supposed to do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's a lot going.
So when Jeremiah went to Alabama, did you kind of had a feeling that he was going, or you just didn't know?
Well, just to be honest with you, and it's not popular. His dad and mom are probably watching this now, and I'm honest with them. One thing Otis has showed me, my granddad has told me, you believe something's right, you stand on it.
Yeah.
That kid came to me personally and told me, he said, "Hey, my dad doesn't necessarily, he want me to be sold on Alabama." He said, "My mama, like where I want to go, she cool with it. Mama gonna go wherever I go." He said, "But Coach, I want to make sure I'm making the best decision for me." So I said, if it was 2 other schools to pull you off of that, what would you do? And now this is me being friends with the now associate head coach at Alabama, Freddie Roach, on a personal end.
Yeah.
I said, "What would you go?" He said, "Man, Georgia, Colorado, Auburn." Called George. I said, "Trey Scott, how you feeling?" the interaction there was just they were stuck on them Georgia boys, and they really wasn't rocking with Beaver the same way. Colorado, Coach Prime called him while he was in school and talked to him, and then Coach Freeze called, and because of that, just to be honest, because of that situation down there with the revolving door of coaches, he may have ended up at Auburn if that staff had been intact longer. When it came down to it, my biggest thing was, regardless of what your mom and dad have entrusted you with me.
Yeah.
So that means I got to help you make decisions that you're scared to tell mom and daddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I took them, daddy wasn't happy with it. LA ain't going to Auburn. And I said, man, do you trust me? I said, you gave me your child when he was 14 years old, and they said he was a left tackle. Do you trust me? I ain't got no reason not to. So if you give me one not to, then I'll start.
Well, you sound just like him.
And I took him down to the Auburn with me. He had a decent time. He played the game. And he said, man, ultimately, whatever decision my son make, I'm going to support it whether I like it or not, because I love my son first, not these schools. It just ended up being a better situation for him in Alabama. I knew between the two schools what was best for him right now, because I have an inside scoop with having played. My biggest thing is if you call Mike, you're going to call Mike and say, man, how's Seattle?
Yeah.
If another kid is interested in going, he's a free agent. How's Seattle?
Yeah.
Because what I've also learned with having a guy now that's a free agent, DJ Dale, what I've learned is you don't choose a team because of signing bonus. You better make sure they run the same system you do. Because you can go get that signing bonus and don't run the system they run, and now they cut you because you can't fit the system.
Yeah, perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
Good
So
point.
it's so many different components that go into it, and it's you gotta have somebody who's been there before, done that before, or willing to not be scared to call somebody they know got the knowledge, who may work in the same career field as them, and say, hey, can you help me on this? Because I'm trying to make this decision for this kid.
Right.
You know, so that was the biggest thing for Beaver.
Yeah. Okay. Now you go back and we go back. We had Starling here not too long ago, about 2 weeks ago. Tell about Starling Thomas.
Just a real gem. I mean, to be very honest with you, probably one of the most overlooked athletes probably in the last 10 years in this, and not just his city, but almost his state. People fail to realize, I want to say that kid won 8 or 9 state championships in track and field. Count, from 9th to 10th or 9th to 12th grade. He was on that championship team, was definitely by far one of our best two-way players on that championship team at Ramsey. Just a stud of an athlete, goes on, and that's why I tell people all the time, goes on to UAB, stays in the city, and does what he did for UAB and become one of the big men on campus at UAB. Gets messed over as far as the draft is concerned, goes into a situation where he was in Detroit for a while, and then they release him, and then turns around and be a 10-game starter at the Arizona Cardinals. And right now, starting right now as we speak in OTAs. And even after they drafted corners, they tried to put him out there in front of him in the first 5 or 6 OTA practices. Man, that kid's a battle axe, man. He's different, he is, and he just and I watched him lose his mom to cancer, and I was one of the last people she talked to, and me and Starling has got a bond, man, that's almost unmatched, and so
He joined my church.
Yeah.
He joined the Star.
Yeah, man.
ACL tear, training ACL.
2 ACL. That's another thing, man. They don't realize, man. The kid played his junior year at UAB, his sophomore year, I want to say, with a torn ACL,
He told me about
8 games at cornerback. Like he's just a battle axe, man. And so Starling Thomas is a different breed, man. And he really didn't get the pub as some of these people have got in this city, man. But man, Starling one of the better athletes.
Paying off now.
Yeah,
40 time and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, your son at UAB, he right by you. But do we ever call you? Do we call you a lot for directions, like on the field or something like that? Are you try to give him directions, what direction to go in? If he call you, do we talk to you after a game or something like that, or before a game?
We best friends. We talk all the time.
What do we talk? If he got a game, how soon it be? How we call you before a game? About 2 or 3 hours before the game?
Well, like now,
Yeah.
season just getting started.
Yeah.
So the conversation is, how you transitioning, you know, what are the new guys coming in that came in around the time you came in looking like, you know, how far ahead are you guys going into the season, you know, how's coach using you now,
Yeah.
and how you like your role now. He'll tell me we ain't got this, or who left, or who's coming. He'll get a little down, and I'll just, you know, just keep it positive and lifted, because you're where you're supposed to be because God sent you there. That's why you at UAB. No other way to look at it, you know.
I'm gonna ask y'all some questions. I'm gonna call a name and y'all give me some information. Keith Mims.
Keith Mims, man, just a man's man.
Yeah.
If I could say anything about him, just nothing but respect and love for Keith Mims. I watched him call games throughout this city. Just a true brother, a consummate professional. Very good at what he do, but just a man. Whatever Keith Mims was on Keith Mims hard, right or wrong, Keith Mims gonna tell you how he feel about it. He don't duck no corner. He ain't gonna send nobody else to tell you. I respect him because I love his manhood. But just a consummate professional as an announcer, as a media type, he one of the best guys in the city.
I never knew he played quarterback. I talked to a guy, he said he played quarterback in high school. Yeah, I never knew that. Coach Leonard.
A father figure to those who didn't have discipline. He was a good father figure for those guys, for us guys, you know. Yeah, good guy, great guy.
Jeremiah Beamer and Alfred. If you had anything you want to tell them now, what you tell them?
Always still stick true to who you are. Don't allow me, your mama, your daddy, your grandparents, anybody to sway you from being who you are and making the decision that you make. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to live with every decision that you make.
Okay, now, if I got somebody trained, if I got a kid, or those kids out there watching, or those parents out there watching, and they want Leonard Stevens to train their kid, how do they get in touch with you? Tell them how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so it's probably funny some of them hearing Leonard Stevens because my mama don't even really call me.
I call you Coach.
Yeah, no, you good. Look, Coach probably said like, yeah, I remember his name. Yeah. So Coach Hill, Instagram, step by step _ sports training. Facebook, the same thing. Twitter's Coach Hill, right down 6th Avenue. The biggest thing for me is helping impact inner city youth first. You know what I'm saying? Because I was an inner city youth. You know what I'm saying? So being able to grow from there, anybody I help outside of that is just an extra blessing.
If they want to get in touch with Wayne Thomas, Wayne's World, how to get in touch with Wayne's World?
Facebook, inbox, Instagram, _Thomas. Just pull up to the gym on Wednesdays over at Sardis Church, right across the street at the Opportunity Center, anytime from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, or on Saturdays at I Am Love. Just find me.
Monday Fitness, Coach O.
Little old school, probably the best way, and even though I'm on social media, 205-249-0707. Yeah, I've been had the same number about 15 years. It's almost a litmus test. Everybody been around me. They all say, man, if you can't remember that phone number, you ain't real. 205-249-0707, and then I'm also on Instagram, MDF Nation. And then Otis Leverett on Facebook and MDF Nation as well on Twitter.
Now, I just want to take this time out, man, and thank you all, because I know with y'all, time is money. And I know y'all took the time out. And when I started trying to get the trains together, I didn't really think I had an idea I can get Stevens on here, because I know he'll be as a man. Then you, because I know you got the count. Tell about the count coming up tomorrow with Jamie Winston. You're gonna be there too, right?
Yeah.
I have one Saturday.
Then he got a camp coming up Saturday too.
Saturday. Okay.
So basically, man, real quick, and I know we're ending this thing up, but man, first of all, Friday will be a leadership symposium. We're bringing in Inky Johnson with his mentor Oak. They're gonna be the keynote speakers. Then we're gonna have a panel with of course Jameis Winston, Heisman Trophy winner, his dad Antonio Winston, Joe Hernandez, who's an NIL marketing specialist, Reggie Johnson, who is Jameis's agent, who has had 5 first-round draft picks over the last 3 years, include Michael Penix and Witherspoon, who just went to the DB. I can't remember. Devin Witherspoon went to the Seattle Seahawks. He'll be on the stage. Man, it's going to be a wealth of knowledge. And, what I pride myself on being action, right? And then that's what Jameis is all about. That's why we click so well. So we tired of talking about in barbershops how bad these kids and the decisions they making. So we put together something, man, that could actually pour back into these teams through this event. And then, of course, on Saturday we'll come back and we'll have a camp that will be for the 7 to 13-year-olds. It'll be a youth-only camp. And I want to say this one thing about Jameis Winston before I get on here, because you talked before I get off here that when we talked about a narrative. I want to say it in the microphone and to the camera. This man has put over $2 million in the community of Birmingham alone.
Yeah.
$2 million. So, hey, again, you can have favorite quarterbacks and favorite players, but I ain't never seen Pat Mahomes drop by Birmingham and drop off $2 million.
No.
So that's all I just want to say.
Man, what about you? You said you got a count?
Yeah, so it's a blessing to say this year for the Magic City Showcase. I went to the city with this idea about 4 years ago. The biggest thing for me was I had a single parent growing up until my stepdad came along. Our kids can't travel to New Orleans and Atlanta and Tennessee and everywhere else. So being able to use our relationships with coaches that I played with or coaches that I've built relationships with to come into the city and recruit our kids for a free combine. Yeah. It's a free combine for upcoming 9th graders going through 12th graders. And basically you come in it's almost like the NFL combine. You come in and get tested, you get your numbers. This year we got an updated app where literally this stuff's gonna be live streamed where coaches can have access to it, where they can look at your 40, look at everything else. So now they're not looking for who they're looking for. They look at the back of your number, look at your numbers, and they're able to take that back to their tables when they had the conversations on Mondays. People don't understand. College coaches have coaches meetings on Mondays to evaluate what they've seen over the weekend. Yeah. And right now we're in camp season. It's gonna help a lot of kids. From year 1 to year 4. We've been able to assist probably about 90-some kids signing scholarships just off the opportunity there. And it's not just because of the athletic scholarships. We've been able to have people like Dr. Bell, who's came and talked about the ACT part, where we have kids who have the academics who can't access athletic money, but can still go play football and still achieve school at the same time too. So giving kids opportunities, that's what it's about.
And that's all about. And I just want to appreciate y'all coming back, because I know time with a trainer, he's always getting a call and it's about money. That's why I'm proud of what y'all do for the city of Birmingham and even on the outskirts of Birmingham. But they got to come in Birmingham and deal with y'all. So you're taking care of Birmingham. And like I said, trainers are the most powerful people if you're trying to get to the next level. I think back in the day, a lot of people could have went pro. They just didn't have an extra push or something like that.
Right. Or knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge. Yeah. So I appreciate it. Now, my next show next week, I want y'all to tune in, because everybody's talking about the record. But the girl from Southern California, is it Juju?
Yeah, Juju Smith.
She broke a record that stood for 40 years. Juju Watkins broke a record that stood for 40 years. On my next podcast next week, we'll have a person that she broke the record. See, many people don't know she's from Birmingham. See, many people don't know she's from Birmingham, Alabama. She played her first year at Carver, but we're gonna say that. But I appreciate my panel, Coach Stevens, Coach Wayne, Coach O.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Peace out. Yo, I gotta get them numbers, Coach. I got to do what you said.